Hey, Taylor, I see you're on here. Taylor, can you hear me? I cannot hear you. Let me take this off. No, I want to unmute Taylor. Taylor, can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
I'm here.
Right.
Okay, I can hear you, Taylor. Bradley,
Yes, sir.
how are you? Bradley, better. Taylor, I think we have a problem with everyone hearing. I'm looking in the Skype chat, Brad. And wait.
What's up? There's a little bit of a delay in the broadcast.
Roger can hear me.
Yeah, everybody should be hearing you now. Usually when you fire it up, there's a little bit of a delay. There's about a 10 or 15 second delay from what we're saying and what they hear. So.
Okay. First thing I gotta tell guys, everyone.
Uh-oh, your audio cut, Brian. I should have been the one to initiate all this stuff, man. Cause what's up, Taylor? By the way.
Not much, Bradley. Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, man. I think you and I have chatted on the phone before.
Oh,
Yeah.
probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Taylor. How are you? Guys, I woke up for Taylor Reynolds coming on. Taylor Reynolds is the head affiliate that handles everything over at Ring Partner for all of the lead gadgeteers. Taylor, please say hello to everyone that is on. I know I can see the viewers are starting to pop up like crazy now in here.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey everyone. Really glad to be on this webinar, and it's a pleasure to have worked with everyone so far. And I'm looking forward to having more and more Lead Gadget members on the network in the future.
Great, fantastic. Taylor, could you tell us a little bit about how you got into a paper lead, paper calls, and why you think that paper calls is the wave of the future? It's something I think, I harp on it and I say it, but I think I'm a little biased. So maybe even with your bias in here, we can shed a little light for people. So this way they can understand.
Yeah, absolutely. For myself, getting started in pay-per call was really kind of connecting with the right people at the right time. But I first started out working for a app company called Tap for Tap, where we drove app installs on essentially a impression exchange network. And then I moved on to Ring Partner. And the reason why pay-per call to me is so key and so viable is there's so much intent today when people try and pick up the phone and dial. Myself, we live in a world of texting and emailing, but when I phone somebody, there's so much intent behind that. For example, a plumber, an electrician, a tow truck, new insurance, and trying to help someone get into rehab. Those are all things that need to be done over the phone, and people feel, extremely comfortable, more so with the phone than saying, putting either information on a submit form or something like that. So I don't think paper call is going anywhere anytime soon, as long as people still need to contact emergency services and stuff like that. I just don't see it going anywhere, and I think it's extremely huge opportunity in the future.
Yes, sir. I'm going to jump in on that for a minute because, I do a lot of lead gen for local clients, and it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I mean, I would much rather just run calls through Ring Partner now, because there's not that whole, dealing with local clients and
Right.
answering to them and all that kind of stuff. And then not only that, but it's on the front end of having to go out and solicit service providers. They're going to purchase leads and then work out, negotiate the deal and all that. It can be more lucrative, but it's more headache too. So.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree with that.
Okay.
Well, I gotta tell you guys, the fact of the matter is, in this today's world of leads and generating, people want instant gratification in the United States. They want.
Brian, your audio is cutting in and out, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if your mic is funny or what.
Yeah, it sounds like you're going in and out of water a little bit here.
Yeah. Not sure what it is. Well, while he works on that, I guess let me ask some questions while Brian tries to get his mic fixed, Taylor, because you know, we got a lot of people that are coming on and they're looking to get into doing the Ring Partner site. So, what is it that you guys? What can you give somebody that's coming in new as kind of advice as to where to start? Like which possibly even like what types of offers do you think are the easiest for somebody just coming in to promote, or you know, what kind of advice can you give to someone new?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what you need to remember first starting out with pay-per-call is, and any online marketing is, you know, this isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. You know, you have to put the time and the research into promoting these offers. So I tend to see a couple, not mistakes, but people will tend to apply to the highest paying out offers like rehab, structured settlement, maybe some certain type of legal as well, and those are really expensive verticals to be in. And to be honest, if you're not having the biggest budget to start with, you're probably going to strike out really quick and you know, have a bad experience. So what I tend to tell people is to really focus on the service industry. You know, people need plumbers, people need electricians. Find an offer where there's so much intent behind someone making that phone call that you're kind of left with less variables that you have to worry about. I know that, you know, especially with towing and appliance repair, those clicks are much cheaper than, say, a rehab call. So
yeah, but I think that's right, because that's also, it's a less competitive space, which gives you a you know, it gives you kind of more of a fighting chance to be successful and start generating revenue quickly. And that's the name of the game. That's great advice, because you know, if you come into this and start trying to going into a really competitive space, you're going to get your ass kicked, kind of, so to speak. Number one.
Oh, 100%.
And number two, it's not, if it doesn't generate. I know a lot of people, they get very frustrated if they don't see revenue coming in, especially because of the expense to build the things to begin with. And so start off with the lower hanging fruit, even if it's less payout, just to start getting some revenue coming in, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that. Generally, what I see on the other side of pay-per-call with in terms of sources, people who run search usually do like live links dating. That's usually the first one that they try out. But for SEO, I always suggest, you know, the appliance repairs, electricians, plumbers, stuff like that.
Very good.
I'm back, guys, I think. Can you guys hear me? I apologize for that, guys. I don't know what the heck happened, but I'm on a wireless network, unfortunately, and sometimes it drops.
Okay, well, you're back up. You sound fine now. So.
Yeah,
I changed, and I actually connected it to my hotspot on my phone, and I just burn up all the megabyte there. I don't care. No big deal. Anyway, what we were saying, and I know you guys must have picked it up and finished it off, and I appreciate, but Taylor, I would like to get into a couple little things. And the little things I'd like to get into are best niches that people are using and finding, you know, the hottest ones today. Dollar amount payout is irregardless. Like, I don't care if it's $1 payout or $1,000 payout. It matters what you find at your company to be the easiest converting niches. Because the reason I say that is because there's a lot of people that are just learning. And when they come on, and Bradley has weekly training. Okay? So what we try and do is we try and take the people that are newer to internet marketing. I hate the word newbie, but, you know, unfortunately it gets used. Okay?
Yeah.
That are newer to internet marketing. I like to make sure that they have immediate success. And the dollar amount isn't the biggest part. It's that they're making money. Okay? Because then they realize, like we train them, you scale it. Okay,
Right.
Bradley every week says the same thing. You know, we turn around, we go into a niche, we find it, that we can hit it, we find good keywords for it, and then we attack it vigorously.
Right.
I mean, you just go after it like a rabid dog, really. I mean, because the dollar amount doesn't matter on day one with the first one. I've taught people and continue to teach them, don't count the first one on the first day. Tell me what you have at the end of the 30 days for the month. Tell me how well you've done then.
Right.
You know, some people, they look and they say, well, I have 10 sites and I did $1,000. I said, well, that's pretty good. It's $100 a site. No, it's not that good. Well, why isn't it that good? Because I didn't convert enough. All I had was a few conversions. I said, well, now you have to find out why those conversions came in and replicate it. So if you could just, like, you know, off the top of your head, I'm not asking you to, you know, let out like company certain things that maybe are not for public knowledge.
Absolutely. No, I couldn't agree with you more. Especially, and I'm just going to kind of take a step back here on the point you made of almost that first 30 days is essentially your learning curve or the beginning of your learning curve. You know, use that data that you collect in that 30 days to basically teach yourself on what direction to go. You know, do you have to raise your bid? Do you have to lower it? Are you okay just doing organic traffic? Maybe you figure out, okay, well, this offer isn't for me, and that's totally fine. But you're absolutely right, and you nailed it on the head. Don't look at it after one day, because you'll always be disappointed.
Yeah.
But off the top of my head, you know, campaigns that I generally suggest to people, I even call it kind of like a ring partner starter package. Would be you know, the appliance repair, the tow trucks, plumbing, electricians, tree maintenance, stuff like that. Those are probably the top 5, I'd say, in the home service area that I would suggest to people who are just starting out.
That is wonderful. And the reason is because what we're going to be doing, I think Bradley's got, you know, he has his training done for a couple, usually like 2 or 3 weeks in advance, like he knows what he's doing. But Bradley, what if next week we turn around and we just work on a couple of these ring partner builds on it? I would like to do just 2 niches, and I'll work with you on it, on the 10 personally, and I'm going to also start working with some people individually. I'd like to turn around and show 2 small niches in there. What do you think about that, Brad? Could we,
sure.
I would, yeah, because I'll work with you on it personally.
Yeah, I would say that, and then I'm sure later on in the webinar today we're going to talk about some issues that we've been having that I'd want to address, because that's something I want to make sure we address during the next webinar as well, as far as some of the people over optimizing pages.
Oh, absolutely.
That's top of, like,
totally. Yeah.
Trust me, when I'm done with Taylor in a couple of minutes, you know, like with these little questions, that's the first thing that's coming out, because
good.
It is just, it's causing massive amounts of issues. It's causing a lot of de-indexing. It's causing a lot of problems today, and people need training to understand. I've read it. I've spoken to them. You know, we'll get into that in a couple minutes.
Okay.
I appreciate that, Brad.
I'm on board for doing some additional ring partner training as well. Then over the next couple of weeks, we can focus on that too. So
that would be awesome. You know, because guys, if you don't know Taylor and you haven't had the opportunity to speak to him, right now he is here with us, and you know, like some of the questions that I've read and been asked and everything else is, you know, well, how well do they support you? You know, how well do they stand behind you when you get a scrub and things like that? Let me try and be clear about this for Taylor, because I know this is a fact. They don't want you getting a scrub. The reason they don't want you to get a scrub is because they're losing money too. You're making money, but so are they. But the one thing that I can say from personal experience is when you send Taylor an email because you're having an issue with something or a question, why wasn't this paid? Why was this scrubbed? Why? He goes out of his way to make sure he gives you a detailed, not an explanation, a detailed explanation. Taylor, could you please explain why you do it this way? Because it is a trust factor that I have found in you. And I would like to know from your side, what your company's policy, so they can understand, my people can understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, very rarely did my mic go out there, or you guys can still hear me?
No, I can hear you.
Okay, it just went kind of quiet for me there. I was wondering, I was like, am I talking to myself here? Or, yeah, so, we rarely come across, especially with, the SEO guys, major scrubs from our buyers. And the reason for that is really simple. This is all organic traffic. I mean, people are going to these sites and they're making that intent to make the phone call. Very rarely in my experience have I had major issues with an SEO organic site. Now, the only times I have seen that is when they're not being upfront with me on what they're doing. And that kind of brings me to my next point on kind of transparency between the two sides. There has to be that honesty and upfront, this is what happened or this is why it's not paid. And without that, we can't really even begin to build a relationship. And that's kind of how I address every problem that is brought to me. And we take it very seriously, and we always want our partners to ask us, why wasn't this paid and what happened here? Not only because we want to make sure that you guys understand, but it's the knowledge that we're going to give you on, the difference between a duration and connected duration. Maybe someone hit a key press that filtered them out of being a payable call. Stuff like that. So when it comes to calls being not paid, the only thing that's going to resolve it is complete transparency, and that's what I like to provide.
That's fantastic. It really, really, really is, because it matters to a lot of people that transparency from the company helps.
Yeah.
That you guys are so good at making sure that everything is transparent. That is why I am telling you guys, I've looked at several other pay-per-call, including Commission Junction, that doesn't pay you crap and scrubs everything under the sun from you. And I've looked at all these other ones that are out there. And, well, yes, you should always have a second, third backup company just in case.
Absolutely.
In case you get an offer that's paused and you have to immediately switch over to another offer from another company so you don't lose that traffic. Talking about it, but done something and always, promise to make sure we get, this right away, we get notification. But he does try right away to get us as quickly as possible the notification so we can make a change.
Absolutely.
And I can tell you personally that makes a big difference. Everybody knows that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Taylor. I'm sorry I cut you off.
Some Lead Gadget members, and first and foremost, everyone's fantastic so far. But there were a couple concerns about some things that people see on forums and stuff like that. And I just want to kind of make it clear to everybody that every network in the existence of the world will have people that dislike them for certain reasons. Most likely what you'll see on these forums is people who have done something fraudulent, people who have done something illegal in some way to not receive their payments. So I just wanted to make that clear, that there's always going to be naysayers out there, and there's always going to be that couple comments here and there very negatively. But I can assure you, if you have any concerns or anything at all, you can call me up. I'm always here to have a chat.
Taylor, are you trying to say that the internet is full of trolls?
I think there's one or two out there. I think there's one or two.
Wait a minute, Taylor.
That's a news flash, man.
Hold on, Taylor. News flash? You mean you might have somebody that doesn't like your company?
Right.
Yeah.
Possibly even. You mean a fake review site would be up? Oh my goodness! No, really? Holy guys, really, guys? Like we don't already know this?
Yeah.
You know, this is why we always tell people, look, you have to turn around and judge for yourself on a company.
Yeah.
You have to judge for yourself on a situation and everything else. Guys, there's tons of fraud that goes on the internet. Everybody knows that. And everybody that tries at a paper call, dude, you can get what's called an English speak box. Okay, what they bring over to India to, and they bring over countries to when they speak in through the phone, it sounds like they're speaking real English to you now. It does not be sounding like the, and I'm not trying to insult people like Ganty Murray, who I love to death. Okay, I'm trying to say it that when you have a very bad accent, people in America don't want to hear it anymore, especially with all this, terrorism and stuff that's going on. Your senses are heightened, and your worries, and so they have made a English speaking box where you turn around and it changes the dial right to English, and it sounds like you're from America. Yeah. So what people have done is they've literally bought blocks of phone numbers, and I know this because I own a phone company, guys, never forget. It's where I got my start on the internet, okay? And they'll buy a block of 1,000 numbers, and they will just start making phone calls. And they will have people make all these calls, and they'll all be fraudulent calls. With no intent to buy, with intent to do one thing, like clickjacking, except with paper call. They'll give a bogus address, a bogus email, and they'll turn around and they'll give like it's an intent. And then all of a sudden, what happens with that is Ring Partners will pay them on the first month. Now all of a sudden, the second month comes, and you start getting complaints from your advertisers. When you get the complaints from your advertisers, say, I got 1,000 calls and I got 0 leads out of it. That's bullshit, guys.
Yeah.
So that's why I've also instructed Taylor, just so you all know, if there is ever anybody that thinks they're going to get away with something like this, he's to immediately tell us, and we'll shut your lead Gadget ATM account down first. Yeah. Then we'll turn around. We'll lock you right out of it. Then we'll turn around and prove the fraud and make sure you don't get paid. Because these advertisers are our livelihood. People like Carrie Duke, who I love to death, and Harlan, his partner. I mean, these guys, they constantly strive to make more, do more, and earn more so they can put food on their table and pay their bills. Absolutely. Just like everybody else.
Yep.
And if we get some bad apple, because there's always a bad apple that comes in, I hate to say it and admit it, but when you get a bad apple that comes in and does something like that, it's really, really, really bad. It'll harm the entire network. And that's why we're very, very, very vigilant in stopping any of those problems.
And last but not least, we have Guido on standby with a baseball bat. And he'll come break your knees if you're trying to cheat.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. Okay, so I'd like to talk about right now. I'd like to talk about a couple of little things that with all the pay-per-call stuff, guys. We have made a bunch of landers. And Elizabeth has made a bunch of landers. She's redone some, and people have made their own that are out there in these landing pages. These landing pages they're all tried and true, and they're all nice, and they're really good, when you look at them, because they are mobile responsive. Taylor, could you tell, on average, in your network, what is the percentage of mobile calls today versus landline?
I'd say 85% and higher.
Wow,
on
really?
Mobile?
Yeah.
On mobile.
Yeah.
Guys, do you hear this? This is the first time I've ever heard that. I thought he was going to say like 60%.
No, I'd say about 80. I'd say about 80 and higher. And the reason being is, when your basement's flooding, when your lights go out, you're not going to spend any extra time going on your desktop and then calling from your landline. You know if you have a flooded basement, you needed that plumber there yesterday. So I think there is landline when it comes to insurance, rehab, something where you really need to sit down, chat about what's going on, or if it's an emergency, you're just going to click the call right there and then.
That's a good point, because if it's a longer buying cycle,
yes,
then people are going to spend more time researching, and that's more of a typical like desktop, a desktop session that they're going to sit down in front of a laptop or a desktop to do more research. But for the service industries, which again is what Taylor's been promoting here, saying that's probably the best thing to get in, people are looking for a solution to a problem now. They're not looking to research. They're just looking for the quickest solution that they can find, that can and call somebody very quickly. And so that's why those landing pages, you probably get such a high mobile percentage of calls.
Yeah, for example, locksmith and tow truck, you're not even going to be in your home when you need to make that call. So, that's where mobile is just massive.
Very good. And by the way, guys, those landing pages are great because it's one call to action. There's nothing else, nothing to distract you, no other links to take you off site to some other places, or it's just one call to action, and they're set up for conversion, and that's exactly what you should be using.
Guys,
Even if you don't use the ones that are built by inside the ATM, you can design similar ones, is my point.
Well, I got to just bring this up. It's really important. It's really important. The one that I created with Don, okay, that I had him do, I had him move. If you really look at those, if you look at them on your mobile device, I had him move the phone numbers to 2 different spots. Okay, and the reason is I picked up my iPhone 6 and I looked how I hold it, so when it comes on the screen I could use my thumb just to press the phone number.
Oh, that's smart. That's smart.
And I used it on the top as well. Yeah. Then I turned the phone to the side so I could scroll and see how it would come up. And if you'll ever notice, the phone number actually stretches so it reaches your thumb on the right side. I didn't make it for lefties. I can't say that. But that's because most people are righty. But the fact of the matter is it doesn't matter. When you look at it, even if you use your left hand, your left thumb, and hold it in your hand, I put the phone number right where it says, if you look at it, call us now for help. Call us now. And it's right there. Bang. Hit the toll-free. Everybody knows what a toll-free is. They know where they're at. They don't want to read a damn thing. They see a little picture of a plumber with a wrench. That's more than enough if you got a broken pipe in the basement.
And a tap the call button.
That's all it is. And exactly what happens on your phone. So, I'm looking right now. I'd like if people could put questions, okay? And Elizabeth wants to say her landing pages are, nicer and prettier and okay? But I would like to get some questions to come up here on the screen now.
Elizabeth. I've got a question for Elizabeth. Elizabeth, do you also discriminate against lefties?
Yes, she does. Absolutely. But I'd like to get him up for Taylor because I don't want to hold him on, for that long. I'm sure he's got plenty of other things and all, but I just want to make sure that he's taken care of. So if you guys would kindly put any questions for Taylor up in here, that would be great. Let's see what comes up. I know it always takes an extra minute.
I've got a question here from Bernardo I'd like to tackle. He says, I think there are simple tweaks that one can make in order to increase conversion rate and therefore sales and make more money with the same traffic. Do you guys have any information about this topic? Wow, it got noisy all of a sudden. I just want to make sure that it wasn't me. like split testing, applying video to landing pages, for example, how much of the traffic comes from mobile, etc., which you already answered, because I think traffic is not a problem with ATM sites, but it would be appreciated if we had information about conversion. I do want to jump on just one part of that question, Taylor. Do you have access to this events page where you can see that question from Bernardo?
Yeah, let me just take a quick chat here, and you might hear some background noise.
No worries.
I'm in the mix of my office here.
Okay.
That's all right. Don't worry. It's no big deal.
But the one thing I wanted to say about the video though is if a lot of the traffic is coming from mobile, the video is probably not the best idea. Or I mean, it can be, but putting the video on the page if most of the traffic is coming from mobile, chances are they're not going to watch it anyways.
No, 100%. So I really think for that one, it depends on what vertical you're running. I mean, it's tough, because like we've already discussed, people are going to click to call right away for an emergency service. Right. But for something like, I've seen video work really well with legal. I've seen it work well with rehab. I've seen it work well with health insurance, stuff like that. So to answer the question, I mean, there's a couple questions I think within that question, but I mean, I would definitely split test video. However, I wouldn't do it with many of the service industry areas.
That's good advice.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just wanted to kind of also add on, and I'm not sure if this is encouraged, but make your landing pages have your own, own them, make it your own flavor, as I like to tell people. Don't just don't just copy what everyone else is doing. Try and separate yourself from the group. That would just be my one tip. Yeah,
guys, to what Taylor's not using is what we all call the correct way, which is split testing.
Yeah.
And split testing will always show you what people like more than others. Period. Split testing is always
that, and I think what Taylor's getting at is the fact that if you got 10 people trying to promote the same niche and they've all got the same landing page, then what differentiates one from the other? You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's exactly it. Just you gotta separate yourself from the pack in some way or form, in order to make a splash, is what I like to tell people, and it also encourages people to get a little more creative.
Yeah. Very good. And I see we just had Elizabeth join.
Yes, she's just. Well, I'm glad I got her that link. I gave it the wrong one, but that's all right. Now, Bob F., does Ring Partner landing pages, or can you integrate your numbers on client sites? Listen, Bob, Ring Partners has the advertisers. If you have a client that is looking for massive amounts of calls, to either a call center or any way that they're looking for the leads, get with me. I'll get a call going with Taylor, and we will bring your client over there to make sure it is done right, to make sure that, of course, the commissions are correct as well, because you're bringing that customer in. Of course, you're entitled to a piece of the pie, so to speak.
Nice. So, Taylor, you're saying that, I'm sorry to interrupt. That's actually something I hadn't even thought of. So if we bring lead buyers to Ring Partner, we get basically an affiliate commission for that as well?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, if you have some direct, contacts with, say, a local plumber or something, yeah, we can definitely work something out like that.
Very cool. Very cool.
Bring it right in, Brad, and we'll take care of it. Carrie just asked, what is the typical conversion percentage for successful offers? And Carrie is also going to be on here in a little bit, guys.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really, really tough question to pinpoint, an exact conversion. It really depends on what what you've spent as opposed to what you're making. I mean, for me, I'm usually happy with generally between, I'd say, bottom line, 15 to 25%.
Okay. 15 to 25%. That's actually a pretty good number.
I mean, it could drop low. Like it's a hard question to answer. I wish I had that one number to say this is what you should be getting and this is a good one, but it really depends. Some people I go and chat with them and they're at 12%, they're happy. You go to the next guy, he's at 12%, he's completely opposite. So it really does depend.
Yeah.
Okay, and before I forget, Carrie, you got a link that you need to get on here. You got it in your Skype. So, Carrie, you want to grab that link so you'll be able to come on as well on the presenter side. All right, let me see. Sorry about that. I should have sent it to you before, too. I apologize. Okay. Yeah, Carrie wants. I'm happier with 40%. Yeah, that's nice. That's because you got some good stuff going, Carrie. Well, I saw that. I saw that little screenshot you put in the Skype group, Taylor. So you realize as well, we have a Skype group for the owners, and one of the things that we do is we pass around help to each other.
Right.
When I had the mastermind for the Skype group, the one thing that I never wanted, and I still don't want, is I don't want secrets. In internet marketing, everybody wants to, I can't tell you what niche I'm in. You might go in there and put something. But the fact of the matter is with the ATM and trying to teach like we do, I mean, you can go into a niche and there's a million other people. You just have to be better than them.
Exactly.
Don't worry. You can go into the same niche with plumbing and you can't oversaturate it because forget about how many cities there are in the U.S. that need it. The fact of the matter is look at how many keywords there are that attach to plumbing needs. Okay, from on the emergency, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. Short tail, long tail, it's crazy. So, guys, when you think all of a sudden that, oh, I'm going to go into that niche and it's saturated. Really? I don't know. How many houses have plumbing in them in the United States?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, guys, Taylor just mentioned about how much traffic comes in from mobile. And let me tell you something. On mobile, guys, search phrases are completely different than what they are on desktop. And the reason why is because people are searching by voice search command.
Yeah.
And because of that, if you optimize for natural speech patterns and full sentence queries, you're going to be able to rank and show up in mobile search for those and get a lot more traffic from mobile than you would on desktop trying to optimize for short little keyword phrases.
Okay, it is insane the difference. Bradley, I know that you yesterday, because I was on the webinar with you, you were talking about the keyword tools. Well, one of the keyword tools that is out there, guys, that if you don't know, well, not even a tool, something that you need to know is Google has multiple databases for suggestive. What I mean by that is when you go on your desktop and you type in something in there, you'll see a longer suggestive list than when you go into mobile. When you go into mobile and put the suggestive list as well, you'll notice it's two different lists that come up.
Yeah.
Well, that's because Google's databases are totally different.
Yeah.
Google has a natural voice database that is for long tail, okay, for searching to try and give a better, as they call it, a better user experience. Really, all it is to find the correct thing you're looking for, whatever that subject matter is. They really want to hit the target on a bullseye every time.
Yeah, end search. That's their goal is to end search with your first query.
That's it. First click and done. You're where you want it to be. The more they can give you on the first click and done, the better their databases become. Well, if you're doing something like plumbing repair, let's give an example here, and you have a broken pipe and Mrs. Jones grabs her phone and does natural speak, Google, open, Google, plumbing repair near me in, and she'll say, Berlin, New Jersey.
or I need a plumbing repair, or an emergency plumber fast, something like that. No kidding. Those type of phrases, nobody is optimizing for those guys, so you can catch traffic from those. There's no question.
Shoot.
Yeah, totally. Shoot. It's what I call the human effect. You know, we can't. You know, it's like when people call into when I phone into my cell phone line. You know, I'm pressing 0 until I talk to a real person. So,
that's right.
You know what I mean? Like you got to take that into consideration that, you know, people are impatient and they just want to talk to somebody. So, you know, like I said, it's the human effect. It's the human variable you got to consider.
Oh, it absolutely is every time. The fact of the matter is, guys, when I hear, oh, all the keywords, they're all getting used, or I'm only using the top keywords, I'm going for everything. Why am I? Because this is one of the things I'm going to talk about in optimization in a minute.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, very seriously, you guys are missing an entire segment, an entire area of search, a whole way that just people don't understand. And everybody keeps looking at Google.
Yeah.
And I got to